Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the public. I'd like to remind you all that this meeting is live on the Council's YouTube channel. Before we move into this afternoon's proceedings, there are a few housekeeping matters that I would like to bring to members' attention. One, I'd like to remind members and officers to stand when they're speaking in the chamber. Two, can I also please remind members that other than the proposer of a motion, any speeches must be limited to 3 minutes and directed to the item or question under discussion. Please may I remind members, officers, including the press and public who are in attendance today, that all mobile phones must be placed in silent mode and no calls should be made or received in the chamber during the meeting. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence. I understand we've received apologies from Councillors Purvis, Robinson and Dickinson. Do we have any other apologies? Councillor Simpson.
Councillor Wallace.
Thank you. Councillor Hill.
Councillor Waddell and Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you very much. Item 2 is minutes of the meeting of County Council held on the 21st of February 2024, as circulated to be confirmed as a true record. Can I see Councillor Ball, you have your hand up.
I was in attendance and I'm not on the list.
Okay, you've preempted me. So can we check? Well, with that amendment, can I ask, can we have a proposer for those minutes? Proposed by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Stewart. All those in favour? Thank you. Yes. Item 3, disclosure of members' interests. Does any member have any interest to declare that have not already been declared to the monitoring officer before this meeting? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. Just item 11, I've got a rule of the LGE, but it's not of a prejudicial nature for the purposes of this report.
Thank you for that. I go on to item 4, announcements by the Chair, Leader or Head of Paid Service. It's my sad duty to announce to Council the passing of former MP Ronnie Campbell and former County Councillor Alan Thompson. Ronnie was a Member of Parliament for Blythe Valley from 1987 until 2019. On behalf of the Council, I'd like to convey our condolences to his wife Deirdre, who was a County Councillor herself for a number of years, and also his family. Alan was a former Liberal Democrat councillor and a Cabinet member between 2008 and 2013. On behalf of the Council, I'd like to convey our condolences to his family. I ask all of Council to join me in observing a minute's silence to remember Ronnie and Alan. Thank you. Item 5, public questions. We've received 2 questions from the public. The questioner for both questions is not present today. As they are not here, we will arrange for a written response to be provided to them. Item 6 on the agenda, we're moving to questions. We have 2 questions submitted. We have 20 minutes allocated to this session, so we should get through this question in the time allowed. Questions. Question 1 is from Councillor Hill to Councillor Riddle.
Thank you, Chair. The leader recently declared that the war against potholes is being won. I'm not sure how many Northumberland residents would concur. On the issue of fighting potholes, how many tonnes of tar has been wasted by this authority over the last 12 months? That is tar which has been ordered and delivered hot and ready to fill in some of the county's countless potholes, but they're not used and having to be discarded?
Councillor Riddle.
Well, I don't know whether to thank you or express my dismay at you using this forum to raise such a question, Councillor Hill. I would have thought, you know, we've just got the peer review on the agenda today as well, and it talks about come and ask this of me to be investigated. However, I will say that, you know, we lay about 50,000 tonnes of tar a year, and as far as I'm aware, we are not wasting any. Any material that is left over in a day will be recycled. So there is no waste.
Supplementary question, Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair, and I'm disappointed the attitude of me raising an important issue in a public forum, which is of great concern to residents across Northumberland. Are you aware that whistleblowers within this authority have told me and shown me mountains of wasted tar, tons of tar piled up in our depots, tar being discarded that is meant to fill in the potholes which all our residents are complaining about? We all accept and understand that it's an issue across the country. We all understand that we've got 3,000 miles of road, but what is utterly unacceptable is that tons of tar is being routinely wasted every day. And the employees who have raised this internally have come to me because it's fallen on deaf ears. So will you investigate this?
Thank you, Councillor Hill. Well, as I said initially, I was not aware of this. If you're making these as serious allegations, then I am sure we will be going to look into it. But as far as I am aware, there is no wasted tar.
Question 2 is from Councillor Dale to Councillor Riddle. Councillor Dale.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's just because that's things over there. Just this follows on from my question in November, where I didn't get a response to ask for a working group. And so over a period of time, obviously there's been a lot of problems raised by the public. So this is why, as a member, I represent the public, why I'm asking this question. A statutory duty to maintain was imposed on the local highway authority through the Highways Act 1980. The local authority is responsible for maintaining and repairing the highway, which can be a road, cycle tracks, walkway, footpath over which any member of the public has a right of passage. The publication of a revised National Code of Practice, Well-Managed Highway Infrastructure on 28th of October 2016 resulted in the County Council reassessing the Council's defect intervention response times accordingly. The atrocious weather since the end of last year has put considerable pressure on the Council's highway workforce in particular. The public taxpayers are very unhappy with the level of service provided by the Council, especially with the pothole defect intervention. The workforce are working as best as they possibly can with the resources made available to ensure that they meet the defect intervention response time. They are working incredibly hard, and I give them my support. How many complaints has the County Council received since November 2023 about potholes? How many potholes have been reported on Fix My Street since November 2023? How many insurance claims have been received since November 2023?
Councillor Riddle.
Thank you, Councillor Dale. I'll give you very direct answers here because this information is very easy to get from our Fix My Streets system. You've asked for the period, which is a 4-month period, which is probably the worst period of the year following all this heavy rainfall. But, you know, I accept that is a fair question. Everything that is reported goes on to Fix My Streets. So whether it is reported through the call centre or whatever, it goes on to Fix My Streets. So your first two questions really, I can't say how many, well, the answer is everything's on Fix My Street. There were about 6,579 reports, but then when that's looked at, there's 6,314 were reviewed by inspectors, and 50%, over 50% were actually duplicate reports. So really the answer is just over 3,000 reports of potholes. And then you asked how many insurance claims have we had since November 23, and I'll read this one out. The department have received 353 insurance claims for the period 1st of the 11th 23 until the 11th of the 3rd 24.
Supplementary, Councillor Dale.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that information. I'm sorry, obviously I can't get all the actual amount that had been duplicated on Fix My Street, so it's good to have clarity. Thank you, Councillor Riddle. I really just need to ask this because it has been ongoing, and probably if you look at your emails, and I'm sure everybody in the council has had people who've written to them with complaints about potholes, and we need to ascertain that the public actually know how the council deals and intervenes with the potholes according to the legislation that's laid down by government. So what I would like to do and ask again, as I asked in November, is that we had a working group within the Communities Place Over Scrutiny Committee to discuss this in full, and we can be informative to the members of the public about the intervention and how actual matters work with Fix My Street. For instance, the fact that there's a duplicate, people feel as if it's been taken down and then it isn't being done. And that causes a lot of emails to go backwards and forwards to councillors. So it's just having education.
So is that your supplementary about a working group,
Could we
Councillor?
have a working group? I believe one might be being set up, and I welcome it if it is.
Councillor Riddle.
That would be a matter for scrutiny and, you know, the proper role of scrutiny, and I wouldn't have any problem with that coming to scrutiny. But I will remind the full council that, you know, this administration have honoured their pledge to spend extra money on the roads, and, you know, this next year we have almost £10 million extra funding in for roads. You know, I accept that potholes are a major concern to the public and a major concern to me and this council. And we will get on top of them. You know, we'll have to bear with us at the moment, but we are making progress and we will get it sorted. Thank you.
Thank you. That's in the question time there. We move on to item 7 on the agenda, which is the annual portfolio report of the Deputy Leader and Cabinet Member for Corporate Services. I'd like to invite Councillor Wearmouth to present this report. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you. That came around a bit faster than I thought it was going to. Right. Okay. You'll be pleased that I'm not going to make a huge long speech on this one, I'm sure. Here we go. This is my annual report, and as you can see from the report, when you read through it, the corporate services portfolio cuts across a whole host of departments within the council, and there's a lot of detail in the document. I won't give you anything more than a flavour of it in terms of speaking today. At our last council meeting, of course, we adopted our 2-year budget. It was a balanced budget reflecting, of course, our key priorities as a council. The budget included a significant capital programme boosted now and in previous years by the most national government investment ever into Northumberland. And that doesn't just happen to be the case. We, as an administration, alongside our MPs, go out and make sure that we attract that funding, that we do, along with all the departments in the council, a lot of feasibility studies. We have a lot of innovative thinking to make sure that we build the case for that investment, and that is why we're being so successful in bringing money into Northumberland from Westminster. In terms of the budget presentation, I mentioned the BEST programme, and that's reflected in this report as well. That process started in September or so of 2023 and will be running for a number of years. And that's anchored in the aim of delivering better services tailored to reflect the needs of our residents, of our businesses, and our stakeholders, and it's making good progress. And there are some flavours of this in the document that you can see before you. In terms of the IT and digital teams, they're working incredibly hard, as you can see in the report, in all sorts of innovative ways. And I won't go through every single one of these projects that they're running, but not only are they stopping the Russians who dared to attack Greggs, we think, today and took down their IT system, but Northumberland is even more robust than Greggs, which is great news, isn't it, indeed, for our IT systems. And well done to Chris and his team for all of the work that they do there. But there's lots of other things that are going on there. We've been working on our wide area network, the WAN replacement project, which not only is going to serve all of our sites up and down the county faster, but allows private business to leverage off the back of that investment to create anything up to £100 million worth of add-on benefits for the Northumberland economy. So you can see how we use our procurement in this space to boost our communities. Meanwhile, again, there's a fantastic example of cross-council, cross-department working with our bin lorries, where they've been driving around with little black boxes attached to 10 of them, and they're going up and down all of the different roads in the county, and they're trying to work out, and are working out, where we've got mobile reception, and then comparing that to the mobile companies who tell us, of course, that reception is amazing up and down the whole of the county, and we know it's not, and the bin lorries are picking up that information and mapping it for us. Unsurprisingly, as I say, those two don't match. And so what's going to happen next is that the estates team, another part of the council, will use that data collected by local services, match that to our land holdings generated in maps by the digital team, and then we're going to go out and mercilessly lobby those mobile companies with an example of their bad coverage and say, we've got the solution for you here. You can come and you can potentially use our land, subject to proper planning processes, of course, to improve your network coverage and solve problems for you and for our communities. So don't ever let anyone tell you that the council isn't capable of being innovative and imaginative in our approaches. In terms of risk and corporate performance, you've seen a lot more reporting on that in the last year or so, and that pattern is going to continue. We're seeing an uptick in our performance, and you'll see the next set of quarter returns soon. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but some more good news in there for residents and for councillors. Vast amounts of activity too in terms of the HR team. I know those of you who are on staff appointments must be almost fed up of sitting on staff and appointments committees recently. We've gone through a whole host of sanctioning job descriptions, about making sure that we're getting fantastic officers in place, and you'll have some more of those to approve later on in today's council meeting. All of that is backed up by a lot of work that we're doing with restructuring of the council, of all of the staff surveys, for which we're getting very strong and positive feedback about the ways that we're working. And we're very grateful to, and I must say it, to all of our officers, but also to the unions, who we have an incredibly good working relationship with, and we're very grateful for that. They do a fantastic job alongside us. The customer services team, some really interesting and exciting work going on there. The leader and I dropped in to see the team there and got a good chat with them last year. Took some feedback from them, and meanwhile they've been very busy improving their reaction times on calls, helped by the new Amazon system that you see mentioned in the report, helped by Fix My Street, and their responsiveness is increasing in terms of the work that they're doing for residents. Strategic estates, often I'll get inquiries and contact from members about strategic estates. One of the really interesting programmes that we'll go through, the best programme, is on strategic estates, making sure that we're leveraging the estates that we have, and that we tie that to our priorities. So that isn't necessarily just a financial return for estates, but it might be about making sure that that estate is working best for the community, and what community groups might like to link with them. So where you have examples or questions of that in some of your communities, where you think that our estate could be working better, please do get in contact with myself or the relevant officers. Governance, of course, hugely improved. A new constitution, proper interaction with our arm's length companies, and of course a new way of working for scrutiny, which I think is broadly welcomed in the Chamber by all councillors. And that process is now informing what we do rather than rubber stamping a Cabinet report a week before the Cabinet was actually met. So that's a really positive change that's gone on in that last year. We've got a whole load of work streams coming on in the year to come. And I particularly like feedback on how the BEST programme is going on. Please do make sure that you engage with that through scrutiny, and any comments and thoughts, please do get in contact again. As is only appropriate, I'd like to thank the officer team across all of the parts of the council that report into my portfolio for their work, and happy to take any questions that you may have now. Thank you.
Councillor Grimshaw.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for that report. It was lovely to hear. Capital programme on page 24. What's happening with the empty wing here, Richard, if you don't mind answering that question? Also, when is it going to come into effect? Because initially, this open spaces and this copious amount of money that you've spent here was supposed to be for releasing it for businesses and people to come in and use the office space. That was bandied about. Considering it was only needing a lick of paint originally, I mean, there's been a lot of money spent in here and it's still not finished. So could I possibly ask what's happening with that empty wing? What are you going to do about it? And have you got anyone interested in actually coming in and being able to utilise that space to create revenue, much needed for this council? And also the other assets that you have that's underused within the county. Thank you.
Chair, do you want me to answer them all, or do you want to take a collection?
Councillor Morford.
Thank you. Your report referred to the Council's reviewed and refreshed scrutiny function. Given that the purpose of scrutiny is to scrutinise the decisions of the administration, do you think the fact that all 4 scrutiny chairs are Conservative councillors is good practice? And do you have any plans to change the arrangements?
Okay, and any other questions? Councillor Dale.
Thank you. One was just a thank you, but the other one is just to raise a concern that the bin collection, the garden collection, digital service, unfortunately, occasionally when people ring to organise their brown bins for garden collection, they have to ring back the next day to make payment because of the inspection. So I think that's because some people are actually working from home, therefore can't take. So could you look into that? Because it's niggly. I think that's the right word. And the other one was to say to the IT group, a big thank you for all their support and helping me, and the others for rolling out about full fibre broadband. And we've got about 2 weeks ago, first person connected, 1,000 gigabytes, and it's been hard work because of the voucher system and fighting through all the red tape that was put in front of us. And I have to say, I can only say thank you to 2 members officers in particular, because they've been so supportive. But I gather now, moving forward, it won't be till 2028, and we're going back to the voucher system for the next rollout. So I'm sure you'll be able to help everybody again with their way through that, because it's not that easy. But once again, thank you very much.
Okay, I've got Councillor Carty. Were there any other questions before? So I'll take this as a final question, Councillor Carty.
It's just a quick question. A while ago, I had to try and get a hold of somebody in county, and every possible person that I tried to get a hold of, the phone line didn't work, and I went through the website. I got that fed up. I contacted Scott Dickinson, and I CC'd Glenn into the email. Glenn said you were going to try and sort it out because some people aren't transitioning over to the new system or something. Can you just tell us where you're at with that, please? Thank you.
Okay, if you want to answer those points.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Grimshaw, in terms of the wing here at County Hall, since COVID, we've had a very different way of working, as you'll understand. And so part of that is going to get caught up in estates review. We decided not to spend the cash that was in the capital programme originally to finish that work to do the interior of it, because it just seemed a little bit futile whilst we worked out what that new way of working meant for us in the wider estate. And so I can't remember, I think are you on economic overview and scrutiny, Councillor? Yes. So I think you'll probably see something come forward in terms of the estates review to that scrutiny, and you can see progress being made in terms of that in a short space of time, I'm sure. In terms of, what was the next one? Councillor Morfitt, the chairs. No particular plan to change that. There we go. I can elaborate further if you want. The majority of people on the committee are Conservatives, and so therefore that's why the chairs are Conservative. In most cases. In terms of garden collection and digital issues, Councillor Dale will pick that up. It was one of the things I referred to when the leader and I went and did the tour around the folks in the call centre. We didn't get that topic, but we got a number of other ones where if we could only do a few things all at once, it would avoid duplicate calls and it would free everybody up to do lots of other stuff. So we'll take that one on board and see what we can do. In terms of full fibre, yes, it's great. We've finally managed to get that sorted with FACTCO and progress is being made. And DV UK have changed the approach for the subsequent bits. And it gives us an opportunity, in addition to everything else that we're doing, to hopefully optimise the system for the public. So that's exactly what we'll be targeting. And you'll see more come forward on that from that team in due course. And then the final one was from Councillor Carty in terms of getting a hold of people. Yes. The leader and I have been on that with Michelle, and we think I'm going to get a nod or a wink or something that we think we've solved that problem. Yeah. So if you are still encountering it, you shouldn't be, and please let Michelle Rose or myself know, and we will cast our eye on it again, but it shouldn't be happening anymore. Good. Thank you.
I had closed questions that Councillor Reid had shown his...
Thanks, Chair. It's not a question, actually. It's just a correction for the Deputy Leader. The Conservatives don't have a majority on any of the committee because it's a minority administration, so most committees, the scrutiny is 5-all, but by the by. Right. The recommendation is recommended to note the annual report. So I didn't think I could spend all day questioning every sentence in here if you wanted me to, but that's not what the recommendation says. So I am quite happy to move the recommendation that says the Council note the report. Thank you.
Well, you've beat me to my script, Councillor Reid, which says...
What again?
Members are being asked to note the report, so there's no need to go to a vote. So I'll go on to item 8 on the agenda, which... Bear with me, is the annual portfolio report of the Cabinet Member for Caring for Adults. I'd like to invite Councillor Patterson to present this report. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. It's both a pleasure and a privilege to look after adult social care. I think I said at the last meeting that all of us at some time in our lives will need adult social care. So I do take on board just how very valuable this service is to everyone. So we have we're open to about over 7,000 residents who take our service for adult social care, and that is overseen by 1,000 staff, and that is led by our Adult Social Care Director, Neil Bradley, and his senior management team. We have a well-established and effective hospital discharge service, and our teams work in hospitals making sure that patients are getting the follow-up care as they leave. So, I wanted to mention this, which I think all of you may have seen the officers outside, Shared Lives. This is very similar to fostering for children, but in this case it's for adults over 18, and it's to give them, if you like, a little bit of independence, but they're able to live in a family home and enjoy just living a normal family life. And anyone who would be interested, or if you know of anyone who would be interested in doing caring, please do let us know, because it's a fabulous thing. And actually, we were awarded by the Care Quality Commission for caring outstanding. So we are doing everything right in this respect. I'm very keen on strategies. And we have a dementia strategy which is nearly finished. What I like about strategies is it says what we've been doing, what we are doing, and what we're going to do. And I like to see that laid down. And so we are in the process of an adult social care strategy and also a mental health strategy. So I'm absolutely delighted that we're following through with these particular things. So I don't want to go right through because you've got a very extensive report in your agenda packs about exactly what we all do. However, there are a couple of things which I really just want to highlight, and I can't say enough about it. Firstly, the Safe Haven in Ashington for those suffering with mental health problems and concerns. I went along to visit that with our director and his deputy. It's absolutely wonderful inside. It's calming, it's serene. It's going to be a really good thing, and we are the first people in the North East to have one. So Northumberland is the very first to have a safe haven. And I've got to thank our partners, CNTW, and also ICB for funding it. And let's hope, I mean, obviously we've got to see how this works out, but if we can get more, that would be absolutely wonderful for the county. I also want to mention MASH, Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, which is based at Foundry House in Bedlington. We have a fantastic team of staff working from there, looking after us all. And we work in partnership with the police, DWP, domestic abuse, all sorts of agencies is all attached to this. And I went along, I think it was just before Christmas, to meet the staff, and they really are dedicated, and we're very, very lucky to have this hub. And the final thing I just wanted to mention, amongst a lot, is our Mental Health Social Worker of the Year. Absolutely delighted. We had three shortlisted, and Hannah Dawson won the top award for Northumberland. So we have an awful lot to be proud of. Yeah, yeah. So if anyone has any questions. I think Hannah will be delighted with that. If anyone has any questions for me, please go ahead.
Councillor, well, I'll go with my first three. Councillor Hill, Councillor Hardy and Councillor Watson. Anna Watson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick comment and a question for Wendy. The comment is, you recall a few council meetings back, I asked about the provision of mental health support services in the Berwick area. Yes. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you and Neil and the team for coming to Berwick. And we had an incredibly useful meeting on Monday. I got incredibly useful feedback about where the areas for improvement are. So thank you to that. The second question, the question is, obviously what I'm going to mention covers a number of portfolios, but it is important for your portfolio, particularly around tackling inequalities. And I just want to put it to you that do you think it is time, there's so many problems with housing, about condition of housing, overcrowding, a perfect storm of factors that means there just isn't enough adequate housing. And I'm sure colleagues will be the same, every week hearing awful stories about people's housing situation. And I just wonder, is it time, because it's so serious and so critical, is it time that we declared a housing emergency?
Right, Councillor Hardy, or do you want to take them one by one, or would you?
Yes, I think the leader wants to take your this question. Is that right, leader?
I
picked that up in my report because it's in my report.
Okay, we'll come to that later in the,
Okay.
later in the...
I mean, if I could just say, in regard to extra care and supported housing, we're really cracking on with that. And I think I have mentioned before that we have got 13 dementia bungalows going ahead at Linden Walk in Blythe, which I'm absolutely delighted about, and they have started work there. So hopefully it won't be too long before they're ready. But yes, I do agree with what you're saying, and I think the leader is going to answer that for you.
I'm going to take Councillor Hardy and Councillor Watson's questions together, if that's okay. Councillor Hardy?
Yes, Councillor Patterson, thank you for bringing up the position of unpaid carers and working towards a strategy. I know I keep harping on it to you about carers' assessments. Is that something that will be looked at as part of your strategy? Because it is important to care for the carers and not leave them out there unsupported.
Absolutely, we are looking at how can I put this, our unpaid carers, and there's so many of them, and we are looking to see what more we can do to assist them. So it's a very good question, and we are looking into it.
Councillor Watson.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Wendy, for the report. And just to echo what you said about the social work nominations that you had and the winner, because I worked in that team once and they do an amazing job.
They do.
And we did have National Social Work Day this week, just gone. So, yeah, well done. I just wanted to ask, because we've talked, or the Deputy Leader's talked about risk and digital and the digital front door in his previous report. And in this section talks about digital technology. We do have the digital switchover, and what I would like to know on behalf of my mum is, you know, is there support for those telecare providers, because we are telecare users, because we are a provider of telecare services, and I know certainly she won't mind me saying that she would not be able to navigate this digital switchover herself, and I'm quite naive with it because I don't need to do it myself. I don't have an analogue phone still, but she does, and I would have just liked to have seen something about that in the digital technology section. So could you just tell me what risks have been identified and are you supporting service users of the telecare system? Thank you.
Yes, that's a really good question, and digital switchover is causing an awful lot of concern. Mainly, I've got to say, in rural areas, especially in somewhere like Craster, which currently doesn't have a mobile signal. And in fact, an elderly resident was switched over, and if there's a power cut in Craster, she has no way at all of getting any assistance. So yes, we are addressing that, and we are looking into that. And if you want to send me your mum's details or whatever, we'll try and send some reassurance. What we have been doing is some of our IT officers have been going to parish councils and explaining it all. So, you know, that would maybe be a good thing as well, just to get a proper explanation. But yes, it's one of those things that people are getting very upset and worried about. Yes.
Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to congratulate the team. They do a good job and they do respond. My question is, it's the people that are not identified. When they come to need help, they don't always know where to come to. And they come to councillors at the last resort when they're really struggling. Can we keep promoting the communities together as the first step? Because communities together will direct them into the right place.
Thank you very much. Absolutely, yes. And always do refer them to our website, because we have, right on the front page, we have a lot of assistance straight away as you click onto the page. But thank you very much, Councillor Hunter. Yeah.
Are there any further questions at all? I can't see them, so... Sorry, Councillor William.
Not a question, but just supplementary to the bit on telecare, Councillor, you should be getting a presentation, because I know we've had one at our LAC. You should be getting one at your LAC imminently if you're not, and if not, then let us know, and we'll make sure that John Cooper comes along. And because a lot, I mean, Wendy's answered the question very well. There is more stuff in that presentation that will give you additional reassurance as well, I'm sure.
Okay. Members are being asked to note this report, so there's no need to go to a vote. So, item 9 on the agenda is the annual portfolio report of the Cabinet Member for Supporting Business and Opportunities. I'd like to invite Councillor Plojai to present this report.
Thank you, Chair. They like to speak, they do. I won't be wasting so much of your time. As you can see, my portfolio is covering very broad range of activities, and sorry for that. And I'm very glad to lead it. We follow the economic strategy, which was established 6 years ago, covering the period of the last 5 years, which were very challenging in many aspects. And we are looking to refresh that for the next 2 years and then introduce a new strategy for the next 5 years that would happen next year. We are working with a number of partners like North of Tyne Combined Authority, North East Local Enterprise Partnership, Borderlands Partnership, and now newly established Mayoral Combined Authority on various of projects. We have established Major Employers Forum to strengthen our links with key businesses in the region and to help us shape our future actions in line with industry needs. We are looking to expand that now and transform it into Economic Advisory Board, which will happen in the next few months. As Richard mentioned, we've got very extensive capital program of nearly £460 million. I think that's unprecedented in history of this county council. And most of that funding is provided by external sources. And we use that on a range of projects, starting from 110 million Energizing Blythe scheme, providing a whole range of various regeneration projects in the town centre, like the new Culture Hub, Energy Central Learning Hub and Institute, revamp of the Market Square, new technology centre at Ore Catapult, new roads, walking and cycling improvements, new cultural animation program, and housing and safety improvements. Lots of stuff going on in Blythe. We also invest heavily in Ashington. We provided more than £30 million in our capital program for Ashington, and I'm glad for all Ashington members to be fully on board with that. And great thanks to Councillor Ball, who was very challenging, but also very supportive. We are doing our stuff in Bedlington Town Centre, which has its own issues, but we are on it, and it will get delivered and it will get sorted, and we will brief all members as the things progress. We invest heavily in Berwick. We spend more than £20 million on the new Maltings Theatre. We bought a new pilot boat for the harbour. We invested in new gateway for the town. And we've got Culture and Creative Zone in the town as well. We invest heavily in Hexham. I think one of the members from Hexham on the last full council said we were our £5 million. We delivered more. We spent nearly £3.5 million on Heritage Action Zone. We spent £300,000 on the refurbishment of Shambles. We spent nearly £9 million on the Hexham to Corbridge cycling and walking route. That's much more than 5 million. Councillor Kennedy, who is not here, I'll not mention him, but we plan to spend £3.5 million in Cramlington, and I think Cramlington members will use it wisely. We spend £1.5 million on Water World in Prudhoe, and we are progressing well with East Centre. We've got schemes in 7 towns through Borderlands Partnership. And that will include Bedlington, Alnwick and Newbegin, who develop their place programs already. And we've got more coming in Pruda, Rothbury, Haltwhistle and Bellingham. Borderlands also delivered great projects like at Gefwin, which celebrates 1-year anniversary just today. It created nearly 60 full-time jobs, which were fulfilled by locals in Woolwich. It's similar to Lily Dorade in Alnwick, which created 50 full-time jobs there. We planted millions of trees as part of the Great Northumberland Forest. It supported many landowners with access to grants for woodland creation. That's our commitment to climate change. We also provide public transport services, and we got discounted bus fares and cycling and walking provisions across the country. And coming back to bus fares, we've got single ticket scheme for £1 for anyone under 21 years old, I think inclusive of 21 years old. that can be used across the whole northeast. It's not just across the county, it's just across the whole northeast. And we've got the same scheme for, just come back to that, for anyone aged 22 and over, for day tickets for unlimited bus travel in the county for just £5. That's a great improvement in connectivity across the county. And coming back to cycling and walking provision, I mentioned the Hexham to Corbridge cycling route, but we also deliver Blythe Website to Blythe Town Centre cycling route. We've got scheme in Bedlington connecting Bedlington East with Bedlington West, finally. We've got Pontilon to Callerton scheme as well, and some corridors in Ashington as part of the Ashington Regeneration Programme. We provide business support services. Very often with support from our colleagues at Advanced Northumberland. We've got very good relationship with them. They also support us with our inward investment efforts, and just look on schemes like JDR Cables in Camis, which is just a great example of our joint work there. And coming back to transport schemes, we deliver Northumberland Line. Finally, after many decades, no one had to lie tracks with bare hands. It's getting delivered, and it will be running this year. Blythe Relief Road, I'm sure Leader will speak about Blythe Relief Road as well in his update. That's another great scheme that's getting delivered under this administration. And finally, we support community initiatives through Community Chest, which was fully subscribed last year, providing nearly 150 grants to community organizations. So I'm really proud of this service. I am very thankful to my team and all officers, and I'm open to your questions. Thank you.
Can I have, I'll try and take them in threes. Are you happy to take them in threes, Councillor?
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, I'll go for Councillor Hill, Councillor Ball and Councillor Vilczek as my first three. Thank you,
Chair. Just a point of clarification. You said we have given £21 million to the Maltings project. Just to be clear, we, 95% roughly of the 21 million has been given by Borderlands, i.e. the Holyrood and Westminster government. This council administration is giving a negligible amount, which is threatening the viability of the project altogether.
I've got Councillor Ball.
Thank you, Chair. So I just want, again, some clarification. What's the actual value of the complete projects to date? Because we're talking about 460 million being the value, but actually what's been complete? And then can I just raise concerns about the language on page 72 with regards to the Ashington project? I would like to see definitive dates instead of anticipated and proposed, because at the moment I'm the ward councillor for Ashington Central where most of these developments are happening, and I haven't seen a definitive plan yet. So how can I sing and celebrate this money that's come to Ashington when it's over 12 months since the fanfare and I still haven't seen a finished plan, and it's meant to be delivered by 2026? And then I'm really disappointed. Right, again, we had the fanfare of all these thousands of jobs coming to the British Vault site. It seems to have disappeared off the radar. Can we have some kind of update of what the plan is? Because we have invested heavily, including staff time, which I'm really grateful for, but I would like to know what's going on and what our plan is, because we need to deliver them jobs that were promised. Thank you.
Councillor Vilczek.
Thanks, Chair. Just with regards to Bedlington Town Centre, the report states that it's due to be complete in early 2025. Obviously, with Serco going into administration, is this still projected to be the case? Also, are there any other projects affected by Serco going into administration across the county?
Right. Would you like to answer those three, Councillor Peugeot?
So first, Councillor Hill, yeah, you're right. It's funded by Borderlands, but I mentioned that we are delivering the scheme with Borderlands funding, and we are working hardly to find another solution to maybe expand this funding, maybe something else, but to deliver that project as we promised. So we are working on it, and you will probably get some update very soon. Councillor Ball. Ashington, definite dates around that. I think all outline business cases are getting developed now, and very soon we will be moving into full business case development and delivery phase, and then we'll be able to provide you definitive dates. And I'm sure our team will arrange some one-to-one meetings or 1 to 5 meetings with Ashington members to give you that update as soon as possible. And I missed, I think, something else. There was a British Vault mentioned. I'm sure Leader will also speak about that, but we are doing what we can since British Vault collapsed to deliver on that side, and I hope there will be some solution and announcement coming very soon about that. And Councillor Wilczek, Sergio collapse, there is no other project affected in the county as far as I remember, at least the ones which we deliver. And in terms of the timescales, if they are affected, we are not sure yet about that. Advanced teams are doing whatever they can to mitigate any issues with that. But as you know, that happened just last week, so we don't have much information. But as soon as we will know anything about that, we'll provide you an update, and all other Bedlington members as well.
I've got my next three. I've got Councillor Anna Watson, Councillor Jeff Reid and Councillor Kath Nisbet.
Thank you, Chair. So the Relief Road is in again, and you'll know from 2021 it's a passion of mine to get this Relief Road built in Blythe. But what I would like to know is, are we really being open and honest with people, given all the delays we see with projects, the Cultural Hub in Blythe delayed by 6 months, Bebbside and Bedlington Stations delayed, we don't know when till. Is this really still a realistic timescale, considering this hasn't got a business plan yet, it hasn't got through planning, that we're going to get this delivered in spring 2026? Or should we just be honest with the people of Blythe and let them know this is likely to take longer? Thank you.
Right, I've got Councillor Jeff Reid.
Thanks, Chair. It's page 68. It's just the Great Northumberland Forest. It's not a question, really. It's just the whole report is very good, I think, and for the most part, I'm certainly abreast of all of the stuff that happens, apart from the Great Northumberland Forest, which has always just been like a complete mystery to me. They spend millions of pounds. They're giving millions of pounds to third parties to plant trees, and could we have a proper report to scrutiny about this? Have somebody come and tell us what's actually going on. This paragraph here, 613, is the first time I've actually seen anything properly written down. So it's always in the capital programme and a couple of million here, there. I would just like to have some political oversight of that. And I know the officers have got a handle on it, but it's not the same. We are responsible. Ultimately, the officers, do what they have to do, but it's us, our residents will be on to us saying, how come you've wasted, or perhaps not wasted, but you've spent all this money in, like, nobody knows about it. So that's the other thing. And then it was just the Northumberland line, which some of my fire is being taken by Councillor Watson. But it's like, this is just one hard slog now, isn't it? I mean, it is just grinding us down. You have to live in Blythe to realise how grinding is the only word. It is just the traffic. It's just a nightmare. It's just not really good when you don't see any progress, basically. And then you get an email saying, oh, by the way,
you're getting away from questions here,
sorry.
Well,
hey, so the question was about the Great Northumberland Forest, really, and then I took advantage of your generosity, Chair. But to then discover not only stations aren't going to be done, we're not building footbridges now. So what's the next thing? We're not going to actually have the bypass. We're just going to keep that crossing. Just get a grip.
Councillor Nisbet.
More of a comment than a question. It's around about Blythe. We're seeing the regeneration going on. Culture Hub is, as what Councillor Watson said about We're getting a lot of negativity in Blythe, put it that way. We're not getting a mix. People are still quite concerned of what's going on. They're up in arms over it all. They're really getting, as Jeff said, getting grinded down. We're just getting nothing at all. We do need, and I'll repeat myself what I've said in the past, we do need a mix in Blythe. It's all right. I love the fact we're getting these energy hubs. I love that because that's for the future, the young people. But we do need a mix where we've got retail as well as everything else, leisure, everything.
Yeah.
But just what I'm feeding back, what I'm getting told.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. If you'd like to look to those three, and I've got some more questions after that, but if you could go for those three.
Right, so Councillor Watson, Blythe Relief Road, and being realistic about delays. I had an update about that not so far ago, I think a couple of days ago actually, and it's still on track at the moment for spring 2026. We plan to submit planning application in April this year, and outline business case has been development and has been 4 months with Department for Transport, and we just had technical back and forward with them. But we are definitely on it, and it's still on track at the moment. But with every big civil engineering project, there may be some delays along route. But at the moment, everything goes as it should. Councillor Reid, Great Northumberland Forest. I agree with you. We should have that at the scrutiny committee. I'm not sure if that's Councillor Bone or Councillor Oliver, but definitely one of the chairs of the scrutiny committee can request that paper to go to the scrutiny committee, and that can be discussed. And discussing the Northumberland line, you said we don't deliver footbridges. It's just one footbridge that won't get delivered. And it's at the moment progressing well. Like I said, with any civil engineering project, there are some disruptions and delays. But we get there. You will have trains running this year and all stations open next year. It's a great project, Councillor Reid. Thank you very much. And Councillor Nisbet, about the energizing Blythe and mix of different uses for town centre. We deliver that. We've got education there, we've got Energy Institute, we've got Cultural Hub, we've got public realm improvements, and all of that hopefully will drive the footfall to also deliver the shopping and all of that trade back in the town centre. As you are aware, councils are not building and opening any shops, or we will not get Primark there or anything like that. We need a footfall, and businesses will come with it. But I've got one suggestion. We haven't had that at the scrutiny committee for a while, and we could have energizing Blythe topic considered by the scrutiny committee, and then we could discuss that in greater detail, if that's fine with you.
Yeah. Right. I've got quite a few questions here. We've started to go into debate a little bit, so can I remind members to stick to questions, and the next 3 questions to come from Councillor Dale, Councillor Grimshaw and Councillor Scott. So Councillor Dale.
Thank you very much. And it's something I think we need to look at, but last week we had a planning application which included an application for accommodation on Hadrian's Wall, and the committee felt quite strongly that the planning committee, the planning department should have actually consulted with Visit Northumberland, which they didn't. And the basic of the application was for a holiday accommodation. There is a massive need for holiday accommodation along Hadrian's Wall, and that's seen from all kinds of people who got all kinds of people who rang and spoke to everybody, but nobody spoke to Visit Northumberland. Could you make sure that in the future, and I don't know how you relate this through planning process or the local plan or whatever, that when...
Councillor Dale, I'm going to just...
I'm just asking...
No, I'm just going to say this. You're talking about a planning application, which has been through.
It's the policy.
You're talking about something to do with planning, which doesn't actually seem to relate to this report. So can you have a question that relates to this report, please?
We need to ensure that we can have accommodation on Hadrian's Wall. So could you find out how the planning authority can have an input into this by consulting with Visit Northumberland as to ascertain the need for any planning applications which will advance the actual economic prosperity of Hadrian's Wall? And the second question, can I just ask the second one? It's just to say the Borderlands in Prado has just started again. Could you tell me how long the Borderlands funding will last for?
Councillor Grimshaw.
Thank you, Chair. It's actually on page 67, 6.11, to do with the community chest. And I would like to see, please, if you don't mind, a little bit more publicity for this wonderful scheme, because we have had some very, very interesting people who's applied, actually come to LAC meetings, opened up their hearts with what they've been done with the money, and they've been really informative, really grateful, and they've also promoted town and parish councils while they've been doing so. But the publicity we get from that is not good. So I would like to see, if you don't mind, more publicity when we have these issues on the LACs, because it's really good for Northumberland County Council to see the hard work and input that we actually do with these LAC meetings. So can I please beg yourself to make sure that we have some kind of publicity every time that we have LAC presentations from people who apply and are successful with our money? Thank you.
Right. Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Chair. So I welcome the 1.5 million that is coming to Waterworld, and I'm really glad to see the East Centre mentioned in this report today. But what else is coming to Prado? There was 66.1 million spent in a near town in Ponteland. What else is coming to Prado? That's what I would like to know.
Right. Those three questions there.
So, Councillor Day, you had lots of questions about the planning and policy planning. I will discuss that with Councillor Horncastle after the meeting. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. That's not my portfolio, not my expertise, but I will discuss that with Colin, and we'll definitely come back to you.
Colin, we need to get through progress. We'll sort this out afterwards.
Councillor Grimshaw, and I agree with you about the PR, about the community chest. We are not doing enough, and I will definitely speak with Michelle here, and we'll pick that up, and we'll do more publicity next year when the new projects are alive. And then what's coming to Pruda? We've got place program there for Borderlands, and it's for Bedlington members and the partnership there to decide how they would like to spend money. We've got lots of projects going on, and there is definitely plenty of money coming for Bedlington, not entirely for Pruda. My apologies. Christine sits in my head. For Pruda, my apologies. And I'm sure Leader will also mention something more about Borderlands, because Borderlands is in his portfolio. So he will definitely speak a little bit more about that, and will respond to you a little bit more about it.
We've had quite a lot of questions on this. I've got three more speakers, and I'd like to wrap it up after those three questions, should I say, rather than speakers. So can I have Councillor Oliver, Councillor Darwin and Councillor Carty. Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Chair. We've heard about unprecedented levels of government investment and council investment in Blythe and the rest of South East Northumberland. So why are some of the councillors there so intent on talking it down?
Councillor Darwin.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a quick question on the cycling and walking strategy. The transforming of the Ponteland to Canton cycle corridor, what a great job that's actually been done there as well. However, in doing such a great job, that's also attracted a lot of taxis to that area. A lot of taxis are parking outside residents, and residents are rightly complaining about that as well. So although we've done a really good job there, what can we do to distract those taxis and move them on further place? I see Newcastle City Council doing something about their side of it. What can we do about our side of it to stop taxis parking outside their houses? Thank you.
And finally, Councillor Carty.
Right. Firstly, I think there's some really good things going on in Blythe, especially along the port. I mean, we've got fabulous facilities there, training for young people. However, I'm not particularly impressed with the way some of the work has been done in Blythe, right? Because I've repeatedly asked for an impact assessment done on when the cultural centre is getting built, before the cultural centre is getting built, what will there be the impact on the surrounding area, the other like facilities like Headway, the Picture House, and I'm not getting answers, right? And I want them answers, and I'm sick of asking for them answers, and I'm not being listened to. And the reason why no one is talking down Blythe, everybody wants Blythe to thrive. We all want Blythe to survive, but we need everybody to survive in Blythe, because one big thing that a Conservative government was really keen on in the beginning, right, was the big society, and it was working with the community sector and supporting the community sector, because we offer a valuable service. So unfortunately, the gentleman said, who's talking Blythe down? No one is. No. And I just want to make that clear. But I want questions, I want answers to the questions that I've repeatedly asked for in the town forum meetings. Okay? And that will come. Because I'll nip away till I get it.
Thank you. That will be the final 3 questions, so can you have answers to those, Councillor Plaisir?
Just to Councillor Oliver, I've got no idea. I would be glad to know the answer to your question. And Councillor Darwin, I think your question sits more with local services, how they can stop taxis from parking on the residential streets. But surely we can pick it up on the cabinet meeting or SLT meeting, and we'll discuss that issue. And we'll have some input from you, further input from you to understand the problem a little bit more. And Councillor Carty, you asked about the impact assessment for all of the projects we deliver in Blythe and how they will affect places like Phoenix or Hadaway Arts. I would like to reassure you that all of the offer that will be provided at Cultural Hub will not compete with existing offer in Blythe. Some of the impact assessments has been done as part of the business cases, and if you haven't been provided with these responses, I'm quite happy to sit down with you, Councillor Nisbet, and whoever else wants, and head of service, and we can discuss that with you, because I'm very open, very transparent about everything we do everywhere, so I don't see any reason why we cannot sit down and discuss that in detail if that response hasn't been provided to you.
Right. Members have been asked to note the report, so there's no need to go to a vote. We now move on to item 10 on the agenda, which is the Leaders' Report of Annual Achievements 2023 to 2024. I'd like to invite the leader to present this report.
Thank you very much, members. It's very nice to see you all today. You've heard of the fantastic things that this council is doing across the county. Not just across the county, but...
Before we go on, can we have a little bit of silence in the chamber? I can't hear what's going on, and I need to be able to hear in order to chair the meeting. So can we listen to the report, please?
Thank you. Across the region as well. So I just basically want to run through some of the key things that I think we can all be proud of in terms of providing services for our community, and for the wider community. So everything we do in this council is based on 3 priorities. And I think everybody knows what they are, but forgive me if I say them again. The first one is to provide value for money for our hard-working residents and those people who rely on us for our services. And so what have we achieved recently? What have we achieved recently? Well, we've begun building a super school in Seaton Valley. We have begun building a super school in Amble. And we will, hopefully, begin a super school for Berwick. And there is no reason why we shouldn't see that through. We are also investing in SEND provision, and we have built a new school specifically for that. We have invested in leisure centres to such an extent. In Prudhoe, sorry, I just need to mention that. In Prudhoe, we will be getting on for £2 million by the time we've finished, I think. And we've just agreed a significant amount of money to provide a new soft play area for that very good and very popular leisure centre. And I'm delighted to see, and some of you will have read in the papers or seen the press releases, that we have seen something like 150% increase, I think, in usage, 175 in Morpeth, and the same sort of figure in Berwick. How good is that? That is fantastic. But it's not just that. We're building new car parks across the county. Do we charge for them? No. And the new leisure centre in Berwick, for example, that's just got a brand new car park, Beautiful car park. I was there just the other day. Do we charge for that? No. And apart from all of this fantastic work that we're doing, we are building up a new scheme for Hexham Middle School site, which will be hugely important for Hexham and for the people that live there. And additionally, in terms of these big, in terms of these big projects, we have also turned the camera very much more onto all the climate change work that we do, which is so valued by so many of you, to include caring more for our environment. And what does that mean? It means spending more on our open spaces. It means making sure we don't charge for the first hour for visits to our country parks, so that people can go and have a walk there for an hour and it won't cost them anything. We're spending more on litter picking. I'm very proud of our staff. I'll be saying a bit more about that in the next report, but I'm really proud of our staff. We know that some staff have been awarded the acknowledgement and the recognition that they deserve, Councillor Grimshaw, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this. And it's very, very important to honour our staff as much as we can right across the council, and they do a great job. Just think, for example, of the call centre that Councillor Wormouth talked about. I think it's something like calls are answered within 30 seconds. Some incredible figure. You try.
Next week, leader.
Yes, you try talking to Barclays. You try, well, but yeah, exactly. You try talking to any organisation as big as ours, and you'll be very hard-pressed to find a call centre as good as ours. So well done to everybody that works in there. We are, within our environment work, about to spend £5 million in Linemouth. £5 million to clear up the mess at Linemouth Beach. The result of 60 years of dumping waste in sand dunes that is now going to be addressed and cleaned up. 60 years this has been dealt with. Not. It is now going to be dealt with. And I'm sure the councillor will be incredibly pleased with the work we're doing in Linemouth. We have just won awards for the work on the Union Chain Bridge. Please, if you haven't seen the Union Chain Bridge, go and see it. It is the most beautiful 203-year-old structure, and I'm so grateful for all the cross-working we've done with Scottish Borders Council, Heritage Lottery Fund, and many others. And we are about to dig into the £10 million more we have found in this year's budget for fixing the damage that the flooding and frosts have caused to not just our roads. As any member that will travel will know, you won't find potholes just in Northumberland. You'll find potholes on the M1, on the M6, in Leicestershire, in Derbyshire, in Greater Manchester, and even parts of London. So to make a big issue of Northumberland as if it's somehow different from everywhere else is simply not true. Simply not true. So all I would say is thank you to everyone who is out there right now fixing our potholes, finding new ways to seal potholes so they last longer, and for dealing with all the complaints they get from people and dealing with them and actually actioning the work right there as we speak. So, thank you to them. Tackling inequalities is our second major priority. And I'm very proud of all the work we're doing on housing. You mentioned housing. Yes, we set ourselves a target of building 1,000 affordable homes. Do you know how many we've achieved now? 1,800. And we set aside £50 million for this particular project, and I'm hugely grateful to all our partners, the housing providers, and to Advance Northumberland and Ascent Homes for all their work they've done to actually get on with this and produce the affordable houses, because having an affordable house is a step up the ladder. It's one of those things that tackles inequalities. It gives people the opportunity to become householders and own their own homes. So that's terribly important. I'm very grateful for all the partnership work that all our staff have carried out and are carrying out with the fantastic voluntary bodies out there, Citizens Advice Bureau, and many of you who are passionate about tackling inequalities as well. You can all feel justifiably proud of the work that you have done on this. So thank you for this teamwork. We have a plan coming up for the Hurst. We are improving our schools so that education becomes better for everyone. That will allow those people who perhaps don't like school to get on better. And for those that don't want to stay at school, we have a fantastic programme of skills training through our new welding centre, through Energy Central in Blythe, both fantastic new additions in Blythe. You can't, how can you say things aren't happening in Blythe? Just look at Energy Central, just look at the welding centre. And if you haven't been into the welding centre, please have a look at it. So much is going on to tackle inequalities and to make sure that we help in every way we can. And finally, in economic growth, we are working very hard to attract more jobs every day, and we are succeeding. We are very proud of the work that is going on with the Northumberland line, and we look forward to seeing trains travelling on that in a few months' time. I'm very delighted that we have got more money. As Councillor Oliver mentioned, we've got more money coming into this council than we have ever had before from central government and from our own very, very ambitious investment programme of this administration. We are moving forward with the new combined authority, where we are working together well, and I think that will prove to be a great additional source of income, but great additional source of confidence and power for people across the region. And finally, just as an example of how we are trying to assist business, we decided, you didn't vote for this, some of you, mind you, of course, but we decided that we would keep free town centre car parking. We thought it was the right thing to do. Did we not, as an administration? You didn't support us on that, but we think that has got a real value when it comes to attracting people, residents, visitors, and small businesses in our market towns to come and shop there. We will always keep free car parking in town centres. Sorry you didn't support us, but we will always keep it. And I'm really proud of everything we have achieved right across the piece. And thank you for all of you that have played your part.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have my first three questions from Councillor Foster, Councillor Grimshaw and Councillor Carty, and then I'll come back to other people with hands up after those three. So, Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to go to the very beginning of what you've said with regards to special educational needs and disabilities. First of all, I'd like to thank Audrey, Graham, David and their teams. They do a lot of work behind the scenes that none of us see, and they do an absolutely fantastic job. We get a government grant for the high needs block, and I understand that we are looking at overspending this year and next year because the demand for the service has increased, but the funding hasn't increased in line with that demand. Now, these children are our future, and just because they have a special educational need or a disability does not mean they can't achieve as they get older. Many of them go on to achieve some fantastic things, achieve much better than what I've ever achieved. And that is fantastic, but it only happens when they get the right support, both financially and the support of perhaps a one-to-one or extra sessions within school, etc. These children and these young people deserve our support. So what I am asking is if this council will lobby the government to increase that grant that comes through for this high needs block so that we can make sure that we meet the needs of our children. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Grimshaw.
Thank you, Chair. Just the leader's comments with regard to free car parks. we, the Labour administration, did not charge for car parking. It was your administration who starting to charge for car parks, and we lobbied you lot for to stop it. But when we get into power, I can assure you, Leader, that we will have plenty of money for the areas that's been neglected under your administration. Thank you.
Well done, well done.
Was there a question there, Councillor Grimshaw?
Question is, I just hope he's going to put some more money into, sorry, because just leading on from my colleague, special education needs is vitally important. They need supported every which way they can. And then reiterate, Audrey and her team is doing a remarkable job. Please support it. Please get more money into it, because these are our future. There's some very, very highly intelligent children in there. And I know it's in your report as well with regard to looking after when they leave school and getting them employed in the county. Is there any chance of getting any stats as to, is any in this area now? And could we have stats if possible? Thank you.
Councillor Carty.
Right. First of all, just a comment, nobody's talking Blythe down Glen. Let's be clear, right? We all want Blythe. I've just said it. Thrive and survive like everybody else. Nobody's talking it down, we just want to be listened to, right? The second point is she stole me thunder, right? because you wanted to put car parking charges on Blythe Beach, we stopped you, right? Yeah. And I'll never, ever, ever let you off the hook because I'll come back with it all the time. However, on a more important issue, right? We've got a really beautiful coastline at Blythe, and we all know that. We need to protect it. But we've had such a lot of storms recently, and this is a safety issue, and it comes on to page 91. We've got some red and white bollards along the beach, because obviously the sea caused a lot of damage. The beach is busy, as you know. The beach is getting better, right? Lots more new facilities coming there. I would like to see some money spent and some safety work done on the prom. And the other thing I have a tad issue with, and I've had it all the time, we've got lots of memorial benches up there, and I don't mean to be unsympathetic, right? But when plants are put on them seats and they're left to rot, people cannot enjoy sitting, enjoying the picnic, because they're getting pollen on their back. And I've asked repeatedly for every week for these to be taken off. They're not supposed to put them on there, they know that, right? But you go in and you're sitting down and there's dead flowers on the seat, it just spoils it a little bit. But I think the massive issue here is to have a look at the safety of it, because we are busy, we just need to look at the safety along that end of the prom. Thank you.
Thank you. That's your first 3 questions there, Councillor Townsend. Would you like to?
I've got the first one, which is about doing more for SEND, and you're absolutely right. And actually, I believe we are already talking to government about this. I'm going to look. Yes, we are. That is already underway, and it's incredibly important. I have often said, and I mean this, that every child is important, and a child with special educational needs is equally as important to a high-flying A-level student. Of course they are. And we know that we need more money, and we are asking for it. So I give you that assurance, and we will do everything we can. The next one was about...
what was it about?
Very naughty.
It was about
what was it about now?
Well, it was about, it turned into SEND.
I think I've forgotten. And then the last one was about South Beach. Very important point, brought up quite a bit by your colleagues that represent that part of Blythe. We are spending significant amounts of money on sorting out some of the bits that need to be sorted out, as you know, the bits of wood and the little bins and painting and things, because with Blythe Town Council, who are excellent partners, we are laying on a commemoration day, as most people know, I think, for D-Day. And that is going to be an extremely important event, which I hope as many of you can come, will come. But we are spending a significant amount of money on it. If you want to ask your scrutiny committee to look at that, I don't see any problem with someone coming along and giving you some bullet points and, having a discussion, and you tell us what you think we should be doing more. And I look at all the members responsible for their area. So if that's what you would like. I mean, I'm going to have a talk to Councillor Oliver anyway about one matter. I will talk to him and Councillor Mather about the highways issue and how we might move forward with that. More than happy to come along and talk about South Beach if that would be helpful.
I'm going to invite my next three questions. Can I remind members please keep it to questions? I've got a lot of questions coming in, so if we get into lots of speeches, we're going to restrict the number of questions coming in. So I've got Councillor Ball, Councillor Dunn, and then Councillor Stewart. So Councillor Ball.
Thanks, Chair. So I wasn't going to speak on this, but I think that it is going to be a bit of a speech as well. So I am proud as...
There'll be a question, Councillor Ball, please.
Well, I'm proud as anything to come from Ashington. I am proud to represent Ashington and Northumberland in this council. But you say that we're talking it down. What, £460 million coming into this county? Actually, as somebody that's been voted to represent people of Ashington here, I want to know where that money's been spent, because what I'm not proud of is 32% of children grown up in poverty here. The thousands of people on the waiting list that can't get housing in Northumberland. So as much as I am proud to be here, I am absolutely furious that, where's the promised high-skilled, high-paid jobs? Actually, we're facing people leaving the county after we're spending thousands training them. So we need to be delivering on all of this. The high-quality housing that we promised. How are we tackling this housing waiting list? There's people living in homes with mould in them. We're tackling inequalities. We're tackling poverty. But actually, what's your timeline on it? This is my question.
Well, actually, Councillor Ball, there's been several questions bundled in there into a speech, which you said you was doing a speech, and I asked not for a speech. Can I please have a question, a brief question, please?
Yeah, I think that Councillor Sanderson knows where I'm coming from. And I apologise for my speech.
I thank you very much for your apology. If you're in the bar, I'll get you a drink.
You're welcome.
Councillor Dunn.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Councillor Sanderson might be surprised, but it's not the Linemouth Beach that I want to ask about today. I'm referring to page 91, the Safer Communities part of this report, and I welcome the awards and the funding that has gone in and that's been received and gone forward to tackle antisocial behaviour, etc. However, I want to refer back to a question that I've asked before in full council, and it referred to the setting up of a supported living facility within my ward. Now, that was without any member or resident consultation into the suitability of the location, etc. Now, without going into any details on this specific case, can I just say that no matter how much of a roadmap is developed by Safer Northumberland Partnerships, communities will not feel safe or indeed feel equal unless they are consulted on what is happening in their own towns and villages and on the things that affect them and their quality of life. Does Councillor Sanderson agree with that?
And I've got Councillor Stewart.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Several questions to the Leader, May. It was mentioned about £1.5 million for Pura Water World. Are you aware that there's another £60,000 gone in the soft play area, which I voted for recently? Are you aware that Retail Park is now employing hundreds of people in Tynedale, which has been brought together by this administration? Are you aware that this council is spending money on the Glade on Front Street? A Front Street which is absolutely booming. Delighted to welcome the High Streets team came up here the other day, the day that I opened a new shop in Front Street. Are you aware that Eastwoods Park, which was abandoned for 20-odd years in the previous administrations, is now blooming and it's a jewel in the crown? So I'm not going to talk about the fantastic Minders Lamp, which is run, which have been there before.
Councillor Stewart.
Right, I hear
Before I get accused of being biased, I'd like to say you're getting into a speech here. Can it be to questions?
But if I leave it one question, Leader, are you aware that £3 million through the Borderlands deal is a possibility for Prada? And I was at a meeting earlier today, providing we retain a Conservative government, that £3 million is probably there.
I've got those three questions.
I sort of have. To be honest, on the question you've asked about Linemouth and the housing, I can't answer that because it wasn't in my report, so I'm not briefed on what the position is in Linemouth. But if you write to me, I will get you a written answer. I'll even meet you in Linemouth if that would help, along with our housing cabinet member. More than happy to help with that, if that would help, Liz. I was talking about Linemouth Beach, which is the clear up. Blythe Beach is also being cleared up, but in a different way. The next question was about Ashington. I think if we are... Let's take politics out of this for a second. Well, let's try... No, let's try for a second. No, come on. Let's just try for a second. We know that Blythe and Ashington need investment. We know that. You all know that, and we've needed it there in those places for some time now. This is a big injection of money coming from the south of England up to us. Ashington is getting, is it 30 million? More than 30 million pounds. And the work is underway. I know that. And if you haven't been briefed on that, you will be this week or early next week. But if we just look at it as human beings for a second, how can we, in all honesty, try and make political capital out of a huge amount of money coming into two places that need investment and then somehow say it's your fault? No, it's not, it's yours, and nothing's happening, and moany, groany, and all this stuff. It's what we are doing in Ashington and Blythe. I just think it's so good, and I think we should all work together and make it absolutely work perfectly, and I think that's me.
Councillor Stewart.
Councillor Stewart.
It was a good question as well, Leader.
Yeah, no, I think what's happening in Prudhoe is very impressive. I always enjoy going there. I think the Borderlands funding is just ready to be turned on once that last piece of process is done. We have given a commitment that the County Council will do all it can to ensure that the East Centre gets the renovation and the investment it needs. So we as a council will participate in that. And we've already given, I think, £20,000 for the feasibility study, and we will continue to do that. We are absolutely committed to making sure that that school becomes a state-of-the-art place for everyone to enjoy. So much work has gone into the design of that, and I thank the community in Prudhoe very much for all of that, and we will definitely work flat out to get this done as quickly as we can.
Right, my next three questions are Councillor Gallagher, Councillor Hill and Councillor Fairless-Aitken. So I'll go to Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm sure everything I say will be scrutinised on this. But the first point I want to make is well done, Glenn, on this report. It was a lot less than what it was last year. So the time for you to give your achievements is less. Councillor Oliver's remarks I take offence at, because anywhere around our Northumberland County Council, we welcome funding to come to our towns to improve them. On your opening sentence, you said you appreciate and well done to the staff. That doesn't just come from your party. It comes from every elected member. We are very, very proud of our staff. Absolutely. So please, it's just not your call, it's everybody's call. £10 million that you mentioned about highways. I would like that campaign to even increase and challenge the government for more and more money on a regular basis.
Councillor Gallagher, I've now had 4 different topics. Can I have a question?
I've got about 5. So
no, well, actually,
so
Councillor Gallagher.
Just one point I just want to make. This money, when you shout, it comes from government. It comes from a government where we're not in Europe anymore. So that's the only channel where we can get money and funding.
Councillor Gallagher, I've now 4 or 5 times asked for a question. Can I have the question, please?
No, I think I've made a statement. Thank you.
No question.
That's a bit naughty, isn't it? Councillor Hill.
Thank you, Chair. I noticed that the leader picked up the question about housing, and can I just emphasise that in this particular area, I don't attach for the crisis that housing is much fault, if any, to the county council. So just make that clear. The housing department are excellent and very helpful, but they're dealing with a lot of factors, which includes, for 2 examples, successive governments of all colours have failed to build enough houses, as simple as that. Social housing. You've got private developers, land banking and drip feeding the market and all the rest of it. So when I asked, which I asked Wendy, do you agree that we need to declare...
I'm going to really try
I'm getting
here.
into question.
Can I have the question, please?
Yeah, I'm getting on. When I said about declaring a housing emergency, it was not a criticism. It was just because this situation is so serious and there's more we could do as a local authority. So the question is, do you agree we need to declare a housing emergency?
And Councillor Fairless-Aiken.
Okay, thank you. Yes, annual achievements. I'm a bit worried that the middle school site master plan's been included in that. It's been 3 years coming onto paper, and I went along to the presentation to see it the other week. And it's a map with lots of divisions on that has yet to be allotted. So I'm wondering, it's mentioned twice in this agenda, and there seems to be a drop. I mean, it mentions good quality housing, affordable housing, bungalows. The social housing element that we asked for seems to have been lost. And so it's a question and a suggestion, because we have a building wing here, Advanced Northumberland, and I'm really hoping that they can be asked to build some social housing that is so desperately needed. I agree with Councillor Hill. In Hexham, I've currently got a 17-year-old homeless sofa surfer and a person fleeing domestic abuse with a baby who have been offered accommodation in Cramlington and Ashington, which really, considering transport, is just not affordable. So please, can the social housing be included when you mention the site? And if not, ask our advance team to maybe build some.
I want to take those, I'll say 2 questions.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. I thought social housing was included in the consultation, Colin. Yeah, it is. So it is there. So as far as the next steps are concerned, we were really pleased that so many people came, and that there's been a lot of online comments as well. We're going to look at all of those and keep the pace going on it as fast as we can. It's not going to be simple because we want to get this right first time. That means listening to an awful lot of different points of view and trying to find a compromise that will fit everyone. And that includes the social housing element, which is incredibly important in Hexham. It's important in Berwick, I would need to know more precisely about levels of interest on Home Finder and any potential housing needs there might be in and around that area, and I will find out. So thank you for raising the question.
Right, I've got next 3 of Councillor Dodd, Councillor Hunter and Councillor Reid. We really need to be making progress, so can I remind people to stick to questions? And we have Councillor Dodd, please.
Yeah, I'm always brief. The affordable housing numbers are impressive. Blown past the 1,000 number. Unfortunately, two weeks ago or so, at Morpeth Area Planning, we had affordable housing on the agenda. It went through, but the Labour leader voted or abstained, as did another Labour member. A Labour member went against it. Do the Labour Party have a policy on affordable housing, or is it just in someone else's area?
That's unhelpful. That's really unhelpful.
Yeah, I've been told that's an unhelpful question, so I'll disregard it. Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. My question's on inequalities. Yes, there is housing, but it's also the fact that we've got pockets of deprivation in our wards, and if we're going on census data, there's going to be some wards that's detrimental. Personally, my own, I have deprivation, but I have good people living in other parts, whereas financially. Can we make sure that it's not just ward specific, that we drill down the data when we look at equalities?
I have Councillor Reid, but I'll take Councillor Murphy at this stage as well. But Councillor Reid.
Okay, thanks. I've got 2 questions, and they are questions. The first one, does the leader think it's ironic that the shortest report in the agenda is the annual achievements of the council? That's the first question. And the second question is about value for money. And I'll just remind him what I said at the Budget Council. The external auditors, Mazars, have failed to tell you that you are value for money for the last 5 years. So how upset is he that he can't even get our external auditors to agree that the council is value for money?
And I'm going to have my final question here from Councillor Murphy. Councillor Murphy.
Thanks, Chair. My question is about equality. At the end of every single one of these reports, we have implications. And time and again, I read these reports and it says that there are no equalities issues. And I don't accept that. And I just think we could be better at highlighting, actually, when we're talking about fighting inequalities, that policies within these reports will disproportionately impact on various protected characteristics. So I'm asking if we can beef up and be better at that. And I just have to be pedantic and say there's no such thing as the Equalities Act. As a local authority, we should be naming things correctly. It's the Equality Act. And it's one of the most frustrating things, week after week after week, month after month, to see this and to read that there are no equalities issues when there are, and to see it referred to as the Equalities Act when it isn't. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Sanderson.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like you to raise this as either to write to me and let me respond and get some help from officers in getting in more detail, or raise it as a question at council and we can have a debate potentially. But it's a really important point that you make, and thank you for making it. On Berwick, I met a member up at Berwick when the digger was there, opening up Seaton Hall. Is that not correct? It is. So Seaton Hall will provide significant quantities of affordable homes to buy or to let or part buy. So that's a great achievement. I know everybody is delighted about that, and I'm very delighted about it too. Hopefully that will be up and running very soon. And being concise is a quality. I've always found that personally, so that when I stand here, I try and keep it very short when I'm asked to speak about anything. I continue to do that. I can't really recall. Oh, yes, I can. I can recall when you were here. I would ask you to have... And I can remember. And it reminds me of the difference between being concise and inconcise. Over.
Okay, I think we've reached the end of that there. Members have been asked to note the report, so there's no need to vote. Go to item 11 on the agenda, which presents the report of the peer review. I'd like to invite the leader to introduce this report.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. I just need to spend a very short time running through this report. I shall be concise in it, but I do need to express some thanks to a wide range of people. Most importantly, the Corporate Peer Challenge team that came and spent 4 days on site, spent a considerable amount of time on reading up before they came here, and to all the people who they spoke to. Now, we did not in any way try to embargo who they spoke to, so that they spoke to a wide range of people, so that they got an accurate and fair assessment of how Northumberland County Council is now. That included colleagues who may not like us. It included colleagues who don't like us at all. But it was important to make sure that we got that cross-section of opinion, and that's why this is a very thorough assessment. So the attention was basically upon this, our corporate plan for 23 to 26. So they looked at that, they looked at the detail within it, and how we proposed and how we were delivering it. So that attention was on the 3 priorities that are contained with this. They also wanted to check our finances, the services from the investment that we're carrying out across the county, to protecting our frontline work, our work and reputation with our partners, partners locally, partners regionally and partners nationally as well. And how was that working and how did they feel we were doing? And then finally, they wanted to look carefully at governance around our staffing and around our leadership, both operational and political. Those are the key things that any council needs to get right to be a good council. And none of them are easy to get right. It takes a lot of hard work, huge dedication and commitment, and absolute focus. And all of these things are given to us all, Brian, all by our staff. Right across the services, day and night, 24/7. So I say now to all the staff, my heartfelt thanks to you all, to each and every one, from our newest apprentice to our executive team and our new chief executive. It quotes in the report, the council should celebrate and be proud of the significant progress made. Councillors, I am not complacent because there is always still work for me to do and new projects to deliver and new ideas to consider and more that we can do to work together. But this is the land of great opportunities, and we will help each and every resident, each and every business, and each and every visitor to make the most of our county. And we, as a county council, we will play our part in leading that. Thank you.
Right, I'm going to ask if we've got any questions on that at all. I've got Councillor Hunter first. Thank you. Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Leader. I'd like to speak as the Chair of the Town and Parish Council Liaison Working Group. Thank you for attending the conference on Thursday, and thank you to the staff that supported. And I think this is where one of the groups we should be using to work with town and parish councils. Let's strengthen it up. Let's be seen as working together. I've got two pleas, basically from the parish's side, is when we're doing any changes at county council, please can we consult the town and parish councils if it's going to have an impact on them, especially financially. And please can we try and consult with them a bit more during the budget, because they have to set the precepts before we set our budget, and there could be financial impact. That's my two pleas, if we could do that, and I will work with you as the Chair of the Town and Parish Council.
Councillor Carr.
Leader, what's your opinion and thoughts on page 120 about the mistrust across some elected members still within the council, and how do you feel you could improve the relationship between members? I mean, personally, I feel as though I've got a good relationship with my opposition members. You know, Councillor Reid and I converse quite often about issues in our ward, and Councillors Nesbitt, Margaret, Watson, we go for drinks in the Wetherspoons after meetings, and I've even played pool with Councillor Hill one time a few years ago, I remember. And Councillor Gallagher give me back rubs sometimes before meetings, you know. Make of that what you will, but, you know, I would say, you know, some members have good relationships, but myself, you know, being a minority Conservative, you know, along with Councillors Poshai Humphrey on Blythe and Ashington Lac, you know, we have to work with our opposition colleagues and we speak to each other. But I know that in some councils, a lot of the members are all one party. So how can we improve the relationships, as I feel as though we do, in Blythe and Ashington?
Okay, are there any further questions? No, well, I'll take those two. Councillor Dale. Councillor Dale, would you like to ask a question? We'll take a trio.
Yeah, just one of the things which I've sort of keep on mentioning is about the value for money. So one of the things is about further work is required to define and articulate what value for money means in Northumberland. So I'm not sure where that workplace should go, but I think it's important that we do. And the other one is about, and I haven't got the page here, but it's about incorporating the involvement of the performance management with the budget setting, etc., etc. And there's a whole paragraph around that, which I think should be looked at more closely because it relates to performance, it relates to the actual, it's the strengthen alignment between the budget, corporate plan, performance management and BEST, making systematic use of data and monitoring and horizon scaling. So it's just where that should go. So you've got two things that they are asking us to look at. So I think we should make some recommendation about who should be looking at those problems, not problems, but they really need looking at and articulating.
Okay, Leader, would you like to answer those three points?
So if I could start with Councillor Dale, first of all, I think that's a good point. I think in terms of value for money, I'm satisfied that the peer review team were satisfied with what we are delivering on our key priority. But if there is still work to be done, and I am more than happy to talk to members of the audit committee, I think it is right that it should be looked at, and potentially we look to perhaps altering it to make it more effective. Councillor Dale. The next one on the Town and Parish Council finance, I agree. So what we're going to do is include a focus group of parish and town councils in an early stage, so probably talking about June even, that we will talk to parish and town councils, a cross-section, so we will explain roughly the course in which we're headed and how would they like us to look at their particular areas of interest. So that is in the programme, that will happen. In terms of mistrust, it's actually quite difficult, that one, because I have tried very hard, and I believe I have a good relationship, like you do, with many, many councillors in this chamber. Even the ones that tease me a bit, I think I have, honestly, I don't think personally that there needs to be any mistrust, because I think we are all very much on the same page. And when I said before, let's put politics to one side, I was actually being serious, because we are working on all of this together. Blythe couldn't improve without Blythe Town Council and Blythe members. Ashington can't go forward without you and other Blythe Ashington members. Can't do it. So we need to work together. My door is always open, and I get a number of members coming in cross-party, and it's always nice to see them. I will help anyone in this chamber. Anyone who wants a hand with anything, I will help anyone. And more than that, I think we'll keep on with what we're doing. I'm obviously very proud that the work and the progress has been recognised. And as I said, there is still work to be done. That's one of those areas, and as I say, will do all I can to work on that carefully and steadily.
Right, I've got Councillor Gallagher, but are there any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, I'll make this the last question then. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Chair. The one plea that I've got is that we are mindful of the workload that the staff take on, and we should continuously look at other administrations locally about their workload programmes, because in some departments of NCC it's very, very heavy. We have to be very concerned to be able to keep those staff. Further point of a clarity, Councillor Carr said that I give him a shoulder and neck massage. I was actually heading for his neck, but he's so tall. So just a point of clarity, that was all. Thank you.
Yeah, it's all to do with how you rub, or rub up people the wrong way. Indeed. Well, we know all about you. Yes, you're right. You are dead right. And one of the key concerns has been around, can we possibly deliver all of these investment programs that we're trying to do? And we've actually beefed up our staff in that area and the regeneration and economic development front. And so I'm confident now that we now have the resources to be able to deliver all of this stuff without imposing stress or difficulty upon our executive team and heads of service. I'm looking at the executive team now, and they're not even listening to me. So, so there you are, you see. Okay, I get the point, but we are on it, I promise.
Right. Okay, members have been asked to firstly thank the peer review team for their time and work, and then note their report and proposed actions, so we don't need a vote on this. So what I will do is I'll move on to item 12 on the agenda, which is the report of the Director of Law and Corporate Governance. I'd like to invite the Director of Law and Corporate Governance to present his report.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to start by saying thank you for the opportunity to address the Council. Like me to stand? Yes, by all means. Yes. This is one of those very unusual occasions when an officer gets to address full Council. I wrote to you all before the meeting, and what I wish to say now substantially reflects what was in that note to you all. This is a report in my capacity as the monitoring officer, and I recognise that this is unusual, and I am conscious that my report or the background could be misconstrued. So I want to manage expectations and put it into context, if I may. It is intended to draw a line under the shortfalls in process highlighted in various reports to the Audit Committee in relation to exit payments to some staff. The report highlights that having discovered those shortcomings, steps were taken immediately and put in hand to regularise as appropriate and amend procedure to ensure there could be no similar recurrence. And I'd like to thank all members for their support in doing that as quickly as we could. In practice, the important message I'd like to get across today is that democratic oversight of the process has been restored. And indeed, I think it's actually been enhanced. It's more than it was even before the error occurred. I appreciate that some councillors will feel it should go further and would perhaps like to identify those responsible for the procedural revisions which led to the situation arising. Even if I was able to do that, and I can't, the information is not available, but even if I could, it would not be appropriate to do so in this setting. Individuals cannot respond, individuals cannot defend themselves. This is purely to say to you that the procedures have been addressed and remedied. I would ask all members to respect that today, please. Otherwise, frankly, you'll put myself and the Chair in a very difficult position. I'm not going to say anything further. I think the report speaks for itself, hopefully, and I'd like to thank you for your continuing support in this matter. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to invite, do we have any questions of clarification at all there? Councillor Grimshaw.
Thank you. It isn't a question, but I would just like to thank the monitoring officer, for coming to this conclusion, because it has been, very delicate for the audit committee to hear to and to get advice from the monitoring officer. So I thank him very much for his hard work, dedication in concluding this today and put a line under it. Thank you very much.
Are there any? Councillor Dale.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the report and the clarity. As member of the Audit Committee, similar. Just one clarification, because I think otherwise I'd like to see it all, a whole lot drawn under. At the actual meeting, when you gave your report, you said you'd referred, with having discussions with various people, you'd referred it to the police. Does that mean that this closes down, or are we waiting for a response, or what? Because I just think I'd like to draw a line under it. You're the one who knows, and if we can draw a line under that fact, I think it would be helpful. Otherwise, people would see that it's ongoing.
I don't think I have anything to add to what is in my report or in my statement today.
Councillor Murphy, question.
Thanks, Chair. I think I would just like to put on record my concern. I have seen many workers dismissed from this authority, and they have never had a line drawn under anything, and they have never, ever had anyone protect them in the way that presumably senior officers. And I'm not saying it's the wrong thing to do. I'm pointing out the inequality. And I do have concerns, and I'd like to be on record that senior officers have made decisions that we can't scrutinise, and we're all ready to draw a line under it. And I feel for all those workers who nobody has done that for and have been dismissed, basic grade workers from this authority, sometimes for things just being overwhelmed at work or being poorly. I'd just like to put my concerns on record. Thank you.
Right. Can I have a question, please, Councillor Hill? And I'd please remind, I'm asking for
No,
questions
it's
here.
just a question. In the past, historically, if signing off a payment, somebody's paid 40,000 or whatever, right? Was that signed off by just officer or an officer, or were there any councillors involved in signing it off? And is there any difference now in the process from what's happened?
Officer.
Yeah, I think, as I say in my report, there are levels of sign-off which, by law, it is required that the council actually agrees. And I think what happened before was, for reasons which are not wholly clear, that didn't happen. That democratic oversight has now been restored. So in future, where it's necessary, in accordance with the statute and the regulations for that to occur, it will happen, yes.
Right. Can I have a proposer, please? Proposed by Councillor Grimshaw, seconded by Councillor, our table leader, Councillor Sanderson. Members have been asked to note and adopt a report. Do members have anything they wish to say? Anything else? Not, I'll move to the vote. All those in favour? It's not quite, you know. All those against? All those in abstention? Thank you. That's been carried. We'll then go on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 13, the report of the Chair of the Staff and Appointments Committee, this being the proposed reconfiguration of the role of the Director of Integrated Commissioning and Performance for Adults, Ageing and Wellbeing. I'd like to invite the Deputy Leader who chaired the committee to present the report. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be really brief because the report is hopefully very straightforward. The recommendations are set out at various parts of paragraphs 3.1 through 3.4, which is to approve the recommendations of the Staff and Appointments Committee, which was held on the 22nd of February, to increase the establishment of that 0.5 FTE by further 0.5 FTE to a full-time, therefore equivalent role. It's been referred to full council because the role falls above the £100,000 level in band 16 as at point 3.2. Please, I would request at 3.3 that you note the approved selection process, and 3.4 to note that any appointment will be subject to the council full approval, which we're here to do today, in any pre-employment checks. And with that, I'll move that recommendation, please, Chair. Thank you.
Agreed.
Right, it's been proposed and seconded by the Leader. Any questions or clarification at all? Any debate? All those in favour?
That's for all four recommendations.
For all four recommendations, I must be clear. I think it's unanimous, but to check, I'll say all those against. All those in abstention, that was unanimous. Thank you. I'll just rattling through this. Pleased to hear the final item of today's agenda is the report of the Chair of the Staff and Appointments Committee, that being the appointment of the Assistant Chief Fire Officer. Appendix to this report is in part 2 of the agenda. If members wish to discuss anything within that document, can I remind members that the appropriate resolution will need to be passed to move into private session. But I'd like to invite the Deputy Leader who chaired this committee to present the report. Councillor Wearmouth.
Thank you, Chair. Again, hopefully a really straightforward one. I'll take you to the recommendations as set out in the report. It's to recommend, was recommended to full council by the Staff and Appointments Committee that was held on the 22nd of February to permanently appoint Stephen Kennedy to the role of Assistant Chief Fire Officer. The report comes here as per the last one because the salary is just over £100,000. So the request is, in addition, to note the appointment which will be subject to the pre-employment checks as per the last report. And with that, I'm happy to make that recommendation.
Seconded.
Okay. been proposed and seconded. I would have invited any questions, but do we have any questions, any debate at all? All those in favour? I think it's unanimous, but I'm going to just check. All those against? All those abstaining? Yeah, that was passed unanimously, and that was all on all three recommendations, to be very clear. We have no other items to consider. Thank you for your time. Next meeting is the AGM. I'll close the meeting.